What is your intuition currently trying to tell you? Your intuition's definitely trying to tell you something. And I want to have a look at the collective energies. It is actually currently, the moon is currently in Scorpio. And Scorpio masters, intuition, the hidden aspects of ourselves. So that's kind of the reading I felt called to do for you guys today. Make sure as well you head to astrological events on Astra to get more specifics about what your intuition is currently trying to tell you during this moon in Scorpio. Type in, for example, if you're a Leo, what is my intuition trying to tell me during this moon in Scorpio? All right, let's jump in and see. Spirit, can we have a reading for my TikTok collective? What is my collective's intuition trying to tell them? I'm using the Abstract Arcana Tarot by the lovely Kelly Weeks, another reader here on this app, in case you're wondering. All right, let's see. Spirit, for my TikTok collective, what is their intuition trying to tell them? What is your intuition trying to tell you, collective? Let's have a look. Let's see. We've got the Two of Pentacles. We have the Eight of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Wands. We have the Ace of Swords, the King of Cups in reverse, we have the Four of Swords, the High Priestess reversed, very telling. We have the Seven of Swords in reverse, and the Magician, okay, with the Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Alrighty, we've got Pisces energy here, Cancerian energy. We do actually have sword-heavy cards here, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy may be significant as well. Okay, so this reading does feel quite specific, and it does feel it's involving a specific relationship from what I'm seeing here on the cards. So if you resonate with this reading deeply, this is your message. And just know that based on what's indicated here, I'm not telling you things you don't already know about. If you're listening to this like, yes, this is me, this is your reading. If you're watching this reading, thinking like, oh, I've not felt this way, like my relationship, I've not had any of these suspicions and things have been going really well between us, then this is not your reading. I promise you, this feels like a specific situation. I am seeing a situation within a specific relationship, and it does feel like you're in a relationship with this person, where you've been in this cycle of something feeling off. You keep going back and forth and circling around this feeling of something being off, you're reassured, you feel something's off again. You say something, you're reassured, something feels off again. You say something, you're reassured, something feels off again, and it feels like you just keep getting in this cycle, and I feel like you're starting to receive mental clarity of somebody's emotionally manipulative tendencies or emotionally manipulative tactics, like what I find interesting in this Eight of Pentacles energy, you see this bin and it's like filled with all of these scrunched papers and this notepad and pen. There's this feeling here of like you putting in all the work, jotting, and then it's scrunched up and it's thrown in the bin. And then you put in all this work again. Maybe you type out a message, you write all your feelings, and then it's scrunched up and it's thrown in the bin again. And now this bin has filled to the brim. You keep putting in all the work, you keep articulating your feelings, you keep maybe sending them these messages or whatever, and it's like you're getting caught up in this cycle. And I feel like you have, or you're in this energy of, with this Queen of Wands, of kind of taking back your power, right? And I feel like you've either come to the realization or you've had this realization that when you've stopped doing this, you know, where you've stopped explaining yourself or putting your words in black and white, or you've taken a step back, it's almost like you've had this light bulb moment of like, it's very hard for me to articulate. Like, this reading is very hard to articulate, but like, you've received this mental clarity, you know, because we've got the Ace of Swords, King of Cups reversed, the Four of Swords. You see this Ace of Swords, it's like this light bulb above this lady's head here. And this is all about like mental clarity. This feeling of cutting through the crap. The King of Cups in the reverse is kind of like this energy of like emotional manipulation. You know, in the upright, the King of Cups, he's very compassionate. He's very loving, right? He's like the therapist of the tarot. When the King of Cups comes out in the reverse, it's kind of, it can talk about codependency, love bombing, emotional manipulation. And this is you with this Four of Swords, you know, like taking a break, taking some time for downtime and self-care. This is what I feel like you're realizing, that with this Ten of Cups, what is being made out to be the happily ever after or a happy relationship, it isn't. It's so hard for me to explain, like, because the Ten of Cups is the overall energy, and this is like that card of like the happily ever after card, that card of like complete emotional fulfillment, right? But there's this feeling here of like what your intuition is trying to tell you is what you're perceiving or what you're being told by this person is true love isn't actually true love. It's off. And again, I'm not saying this to make you paranoid. I'm not telling you stuff you don't already know about. This is for those of you who resonate with this, where, you know, you're in a relationship and you're being love bombed and you're being told that, you know, I love you so, so much, and, you know, you're my person, and, you know, you're all I ever wanted, but it feels like love bombing. It feels off. It feels off to me, and it feels like, I think the reason this has come out when I've asked what's your intuition trying to tell you is like, I feel like it's because you keep going back into this place where you know something's off, but then you go back to this place of everything being fine again because this person keeps reassuring you. They keep reassuring you even though you know something is off. And it's like with this, it feels like with the High Priestess reversed, the Seven of Swords in the reverse, feels like the wool is being pulled over your eyes. Whereas like with the High Priestess in reverse, you know something's off, but it's almost like your intuition is switched on, but then this person comes and switches that button off. And you're just like, oh, well, I'm not feeling that anymore. Not because it's not there, but because this person keeps switching that switch off. You know? And that's why the Magician is next to these cards. This is all about, you know, kind of taking back control of your life. Feels like this connection, it feels like a controlling or emotionally manipulative relationship is being disguised as true love. And what I find interesting is earlier I saw the Queen of Cups peek underneath this. Your Queen of Cups is in the upright. Their King of Cups is in the reverse. Queen of Cups is like very motherly, very compassionate, very loving. Whereas they're the King of Cups, but it's in reverse. Emotionally manipulative, love bombing, cold, right? Is what I'm seeing here on the cards. We've got the Eight of Wands. There may be some movement or momentum in this situation as well. This is what I feel like your intuition is trying to tell you, to listen to your own judgment rather than letting other people. There's a difference between someone explaining themselves and reassuring you that sometimes you've made an assumption. This doesn't feel like that. This feels like a situation where you're getting caught up in this cycle of like something being off, relief, And then that cycle repeating. Something feeling off, reassurance, relief, off, reassurance, relief. It just feels like a cycle that keeps repeating in this relationship. This is what your intuition is trying to tell you. The Empress and the Five of Pentacles. I just wonder if you're not being treated the way you deserve. You know? If someone has an Empress and they're not treating that Empress the way they deserve with this Five of Pentacles, feels like you're settling for less. You know you could have more. And you're settling for less. But there's this feeling here of like, oh, this is my happily ever after. I love this person and I know they love me. But what you're perceiving as the happily ever after, you know is not. You know it's like their version of a happily ever after, but you know it's not. It's like, you know when some people have been in those like relationships where it's like very codependent and they perceive that as love. It feels like that to me. That's what I'm seeing. Let's grab you some initials. We have a Y, K, O, another Y, a V, a J, L, I, S, V, O, and then your final two initials we have is a K and M.